Put in questions into the chat. We're watching, and you're welcome. All of you are welcome and to be here today. Um, Questions for Louisa would be anything about finance, anything about your financial controls in your company.
Yeah, bring
That's
it on.
anyway. What I was saying was, as a at least I've been talking about how we have expertise, yet we're not perfect. And of course, feeling depleted is among the things that I try to address with entrepreneurs, and yet I know it well myself too.
Yeah.
So I have the tools and the awareness to say, what's talking here?
Yes, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's excuse me, it's learning not only to be aware of it, I guess, but to like take it seriously, like
Yeah,
to actually listen to your
yeah,
body or your mind or your energy levels. Like I had to learn that too over the last couple of years, sort of in my evolution in business, is like, okay, it's not enough to just acknowledge it. Like you've got to believe like that there's a reason why you're feeling that way and sort of lean into what that is and allow yourself to rest or step away or,
I, that's part of it, is even realizing it doesn't have to be this way, that you can even look at it and say, oh, right, it's the time for me to
yes.
this thing, because I've said this many times in my sharing, and I think I told you about CEO School is actually the course that I'm creating and have created now, because it is that mindset shift, right? To say
Yeah.
like, oh, so it's my job to take care of the CEO so I can be free to do CEO things. But where I start with is, yes, you have the right to be happy. It's
Yes.
simple, but even, there's part of the hypnosis of entrepreneurship that like it's supposed to feel bad, tiring, depleting, coffee driven, coffee. And there's totally times that that's how it needs to be, because this is just the moment you found yourself in. But that the plan doesn't have to be like that. And that in any moment there's a way for you to go like, right, wait, how did we get here?
Yeah.
Let's roll it back. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
self doing this morning too. Coming there, right? I know. I know. So that's what I can offer to you. The reminder, as we all need, right? As I say it to you, I say it to me and you. It's safe to be happy and to listen to ourselves and to make things more easeful, which I think is some of what you posted about on your social, on your Instagram today too, right? How it can be, we can refill ourselves and we can find ways to make it a little easier.
Yeah. 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 And it's fun. It's fun. I think it's fun to find new ways or go back to ways that are just reliable, where you know if you can get yourself into that, sauna, for example. For me, that's like a happy place, is to be in like an infrared sauna where I'm hot and my body's working, but I'm sort of in a more meditative place. And I just know that I love that feeling. And so being sort of like compelled to get there, to put myself in a place where like that's an experience that I can have, knowing that when
Wow.
I'm there and when I come out, I feel so much more alive. And so like just things like that, where it's like, oh, then
That
I get excited.
I love that you even know that, right? Because it took you trying things to find that. And
Exactly.
again, begins with the like, oh, I get, there's a solution, right? I get to go look for solutions. And then yeah, with my clients, I'm like, wait, what did that feel like? Write about how that felt, right? So you can go, oh, that was good. It wasn't just a fluke. It was, this is what it opened up for me. This is the place of creativity, freedom, idea generating, whatever it is that you need, that brought
Yeah.
the restful, easeful feelings,
Oof.
uh, to
Yes.
allow them to be and go there again. That's a good one. I hadn't heard that one as someone's creative happy place, or actually, I don't, you said happy place, right?
Yeah, I mean that's where where the name of my business came to me. I needed to make a pivot. I My business was called High Five Finance when I was a coach, but I
Got
needed to make a pivot for a few different reasons. And I was like, but what is gonna feel like? What is this next like evolution gonna like? What does it feel like? What should I call it?
Yeah.
And so I just had this some people, I don't know, people call it transmissions, people call it things coming through,
Now,
and it just sort of like
yeah.
dropped into me like this is about people. Like this needs to convey, like we need to convey like what we're really here for, because it's not just financial services and accounting and taxes. I mean, la di la, like that's all important stuff, but that's not why I do this work. It's much more about the people who we're serving and the impact that it makes in their lives. And that's what I want to be known for is, yeah, I do this accounting thing, but I'm not an accountant. I'm a business owner at heart who
Yeah.
understands how challenging this journey is and how rewarding and beautiful and wonderful it can be. And so I really want to honor all of that in
Mm.
every ounce of what we do. And so it starts with sort of with people, right? And
Yeah.
so that all just sort of came together in that moment when I was in an infrared sauna, just taking a second to like, decompress and be
That in,
quiet.
right? Connect with your mission.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. You and I, same page, same page. It's
So
so great.
good.
So this goes right into my first question is, Luisa Alberto, introduce yourself. What do you do? What do you call yourself? What your business is about and how you came to start that business, if you don't mind sharing that story with us.
Of course. So I'm Luisa Alberto. I am the CEO of People First Finance. We provide financial services for women entrepreneurs. So that looks like accounting and tax planning and filing and advisory services and support. Um, so it's a done for you agency. I'm based in San Francisco, but we're virtual. So we work with folks all over the US. And essentially, sort of as May and I have sort of hinted at, I've had a journey where I started off, let's see. So let's go back to sort of the real impetus here. So this is not my first business venture. I started a brick and mortar juice business back in, when was it? I'm going to get the years all wrong, but it was around the time, like after the recession. So probably around like 2010 when things were starting to come back. And a
Yeah.
lot of people had sort of moved into this maker mentality. There was like this like food and bread makers and jam makers. And there was just this resurgence of people sort of saying, okay, well, I got laid off from my job or I lost a bunch of money. Like, what is it that I really want to do? And so there was this movement where people were really deciding to start their own businesses and go for it.
Does this
We were
familiar for now, right? 2020, right?
totally, we're going through a similar,
Yeah.
reclamation of our time and how we want to spend it.
Doing work. Yeah, that makes us happy. Yes. Beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Juice.
yeah, I'm
The
like, so the
score.
first iteration of that was with juice. So my background was in food and bev. I had worked with Blue Bottle Coffee from very very early on and helped to grow that wholesale program. Worked with a lot of notable restaurants in San Francisco and the East Bay, like Nopa and Chez Panisse, and just had helped them get their coffee programs going. And really loved the idea of creating this really quality product and just how meaningful it is to to have that be your goal, to create a really beautiful product that is part of an experience. And so that's what I learned. And that's what I then took into the world of juice, because we thought, wow, how cool that this is happening in the world of coffee.
Yeah.
But California just has so many beautiful produce and the farmers are incredible. And so how can we highlight all of this incredible bounty in a way that honors sort of our skill and expertise as product creators in the food and beverage industry. So my business partner and I, sorry, I need water. My business partner and I.
Take a sip. I just want to welcome Travel Destiny. Thanks for coming in. Slender Naturally. Thanks for coming in. Put questions for Louisa in the chat, and just welcome and be here. Thanks.
Yes, welcome, welcome. Um, so we decided to do a Kickstarter project. We were super scrappy. We just sort of like got the funds together from friends and family, set up as a juice bar in a wine bar that was closed during the day. Like it was a labor of love. Our dream was to be at the San Francisco Ferry Building. We eventually achieved that goal. We were at the farmers market and then set up a brick and mortar space at the Ferry Building, and operated that for a few years. And then, I'm sure you know, May, actually, this is part of your story too, right? The demands and how challenging it can be to operate a brick and mortar business. And so we learned a lot of lessons the hard way. Things didn't go exactly as we had planned, and actually ended up closing that business in a bankruptcy. And so that was a really pivotal turning point right at the time where we had declared bankruptcy. I was a new mother. I was a new single mother. Like, there was a lot going on just at that time. And what became
to say, I bet it was really hard to come to that bankruptcy word, but I also just felt the power of you being a person who's like, I've been there. I've been there. I know what it feels like, right? Because it's in a way like, what's the word? Like in the what if worst case scenario.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and you're like, welcome. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
what's powerful that you have been there and here you are still standing.
Yep. Still standing and stronger than ever, honestly, because I could talk about bankruptcy for
hour, you know.
Yes, I could talk, like, it's a tool. It exists for a reason, and it is a tool to be leveraged. That's how I thought about it.
Yes.
That's how I owned it, and that's how I've built wealth ever since. So that's its own whole,
I just got the little goosebumps. It's a tool, which, I mean, we can say for so many, the what if the worst thing happens, you know what I mean? Like, there are still things. It's like none of it is like, and then there's the abyss. It really is just like, and then you do this, right? It's just the thing you do that's available for you. So thank you. Just beautiful. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, it's so great. It's such a great moment to pause and really talk about that, because I do think there can be this like doomsday, feeling that holds us back from taking risks or making big shifts. And so I love that you called that out, because bankruptcy, or the idea of bankruptcy, really is one of those big beasts that holds, I feel, a lot of people back, and especially a lot of women who are already carrying shame and guilt around some of the money decisions that maybe they've made. This is something I came across a lot in my coaching. And just so we hold ourselves back when really we're these powerful, beings that have strong intuition and know what we want. And somehow we just thwart that by holding on more tightly to the fear of something like bankruptcy. So just sort of like tearing bankruptcy up into little pieces and throwing it over there. Just by virtue of doing that, I feel like it's just this like freeing moment,
This is in my coaching, sometimes I say, and we're getting some snaps there. I'm not sure who gave them exactly, but yes, thank you everyone in the room. The power, we get our power back when we just go, so what is the fear? And I say it's like, we're carrying it around in our backpacks, even if we haven't acknowledged what the fears are. So I say in my coaching, like, we're just going to unpack them. You're just going to name them. I know it sounds scary to say a sentence out loud. Sometimes, it's almost like if I don't talk about it, it won't be real, but really it's talking all the time, right? And I say the backpack because we're dragging it around. It's holding us back anyway. So we just say the word bankruptcy, it's like Beetlejuice, right? It's like, and go, and then what? And then what? And then what would you do, right? And a coach I listen to says, well, now that you've looked at it, is it still worth it to do the thing that might get you there? You still get to decide if the what ifs happen. But between naming it, knowing what you would do if those things happened, and then weighing it against, do I still want this? I mean, no one's saying you have to do anything. That's the whole freedom, right? It's,
Yep.
is this thing that you want, and then your power comes back. Just realizing you have a choice.
Yes.
So
Yes. And this is exactly where I was, and this is a great segue into why
yeah,
I chose to do the work that I did, because I believe that financial independence and autonomy for women is paramount. Like, it gives you those options, right? It gives you the ability to make choices.
yeah,
Because when you don't have that financial independence, and we can talk about what financial independence even means. To me, my definition of it is the autonomy and independence to make money yourself, right? Without necessarily having to depend on an employer, like the ability to go out and say, I'm going to sell my service or my product or my expertise,
right,
and I'm going to be able to get paid in return for that, right? That's one way that we exercise autonomy and independence. But then also to understand and have the financial literacy to understand how to then manage that income, that revenue, in a way that sets you up for future and sustainable success. And so this is really where I realized that it's so important for women to be able to generate that money, right? To generate that income, whether it's, you know, working a W-2 job and then having a side hustle and then eventually moving into your own business and sort of becoming fully self-employed, right? Like, that's a beautiful process.
mm-hmm.
And it's so freaking hard. And
Yeah,
it's, you know, because there's so, we don't learn how to manage our own personal finances, let alone finances for a business. And so there's just a lot of this unknown and uncertainty around compliance, like what's required of us, what's the right way to do this, right? There's a lot to unpack there. And so in my work, my mission is really to unpack all of that and make it less overwhelming, less, you know, riddled with like fear and uncertainty, so that more women entrepreneurs, or even if you're just like, I want financial autonomy and I just want to sell this beautiful craft that I make, right? You don't have to be like a, you know, $1 million CEO. You can just have the ability to generate your own money, which I believe is everyone's right. And, you know, be able to do that and not have the fear that you're going to lose it all overnight, or that it's going to go to the wrong places, or that other people who are helping you along the way are, you know, do they have your best interests in mind? And, you know, is there a way to do this that I'm, you know, that I'm missing? And oh gosh, I'm so not cut out for this. And we just go down this sort of, so our, you know, with People First Finance, and in just in my role in this realm of understanding money, how to manage it, what the, potential potholes are, you know, like I can see all of that. And so it's really oh, hey, Alexandra, yay. Welcome.
welcome.
It's really my, you know, it feels like my mission to make it less scary, to like introduce some air, to introduce some clarity, so that we can all go on our individual ways in this, you know, life, and not have money be the reason why we're not achieving our fullest potential, really, is what it comes down to for me.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you. So this gets right into my next question I love to ask is, what's your greatest joy in your business?
Oh, my great people, the people. That is my greatest joy. Just my team members. And I mean, I have been known to cry on in our quarterly team meetings, because I'm just overcome with appreciation and gratitude for the work that the people who work with us do, how much of themselves they put into it, how they're willing to just sort of like follow me and my whims as I try to, you know, put the pieces together to build this business.
You mean your internal team, People First Finance team?
Internal team, that's one. And then
yeah.
and then also our clients, just really, again, being able to offer a level of clarity, and just sort of hold space in a different way. So like with coaching, it's a lot about sort of creating and holding space for people to go on that journey themselves and really ask themselves tough questions and come out of it, with maybe a different perspective or shifting that way. But like with what we do in Done For You services, it's similar. We've got to still hold space for people to understand the data that we're presenting to them, to understand, where they have the ability to pull different levers in their business to achieve, a favorable outcome, whether that's paying themselves more or achieving profitability or hiring more team members or offering benefits to new team members, whatever that looks like for them. I want to help them make that decision, and not have making that decision feel really difficult, or like they're bringing in other, they're holding on to other things that are precluding them from moving forward, really. And so it's the people. To answer, sorry, I'm like,
Yes.
tangent. People.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So, where do I want to go with that? Because I'm thinking of like, I'm thinking how awesome that you are a boss of a team. Like we talked about, you went from solo to what I call solo to CEO, meaning, you can be a CEO of your solo practice also, but in terms of CEO to me means you are just the kind of high level manager person and not the day to day, the only implementer of everything. Yeah. And yeah, that takes a growth mindset, a mindset toward being willing to let go of some things for the bigger picture, bigger growth. So bravo, you've done that. And it takes some courage, right, to do that letting go piece.
It does. I feel like one thing that I'm good at is having and holding a vision of the fullest potential of my business. And it's not like a perfect picture. It's not totally filled in, but I see that in us scaling, which requires me delegating, we're able to serve so many more women entrepreneurs, women business owners. And so that staying so close to that vision and our mission of serving more really helps with any of the doubts or insecurities or second guessing, that I might hold as an individual when I think about trusting team members to implement, right? Then I become the person who sort of is there serving them. And this is very much my mindset, is like, I say this a lot. How can I help protect your time? Right? Like, how can we not just keep throwing things at you that you need to fill into a schedule? How can we really protect your time? And that takes prioritizing together and collaborating together. And so it really is, we really do operate as a team internally. But I do think that it takes, coming out of the day-to-day delivery to be able to do that effectively.
It's systems, but also your heart, right? Interesting, because this is what we did by soloing it for this first phase, is be very, very clear what the operational needs are. And then the delegating part is, it gets to be logistically laid out there. But to continue with the heart part of, like, in a way, I say it like, what a privilege to be an entrepreneur and be your own boss. And may you be a really, like, the best boss you've ever had, and not just as bad as the worst bosses you've had to yourself. And then same with the people, the team that you hire, because, those old trainings, right? Like, it's so easy to do as what we've seen and not what we've wanted.
Yes.
And it takes so much consciousness, just really reminding ourselves of who we want to be.
Yeah. And I think also, like, honoring that we're natural creators, that we have to look beyond what is. If we want to see any change in the world, if we want to see things done better, then we must get very good at seeing beyond what is. And I think that is really difficult to do if you're in survival mode, if you're just trying to make enough to cover your bills, if you aren't sure you're going to be able to bring in the revenue you need to pay for a team member. Like if that's what's clouding your thoughts, which at a certain point in business, it's very real that those things are clouding your thoughts, and you've got to find the way to get through to the other side, because the other side is really where your power, as I'm saying, as a creator, comes into play. If what I'm saying feels compelling to you, right? Like, we're not all meant to be these creative visionary leaders, right? Like, it's okay and beautiful and necessary to follow what feels right for you, what your definition of leadership means, what the fullest expression of your business looks like. Like, it's really important to follow what feels good there. And so exposing yourself to different ways of, that businesses have scaled or grown, or like, that's been paramount to me, because it helped me get really clear in that contrast of what I was good at. I happened to be good at holding the vision, maintaining the heart of the mission, and then sort of, serving as a leader for my team to get to this place where we're building a scalable business that can stand the test of time, really, is where I'm going.
Yes.
But again, not everybody's the same, but like, maybe hearing that brings up something for people listening. Oh, that sounds great. Oh, that's not me. Oh, how did you do that? Like, it's all part of just that exploration,
Yeah, it is totally all part of it. I say, as a coach, I'm here to make your dreams come true. But if there is a bigger dream, and I appreciate that you just flagged, if we want to see social change in the world, it's going to have to break the boxes. We cannot keep doing what we've been doing. We all need each other, really. Like, I just feel so much talking with you, like how your piece of the puzzle is just fits with just right, fitting with my mission, of also having entrepreneurs connect with their greatest purpose of growing wealth through being their whole selves. Like, it just, like, if everybody, what I picture is everybody gets to shine their light, and we all just like link arms, like, we are so powerful to change this. And I've been saying, like, there has never been a better time, a more important time for us to get big with our light, and like, get clean, and not out of pressure, out of like love, mission, call, purpose, in ways that are like win, 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 everybody gets to win. Woo, welcome the great Jaden and Jay Pond. Hi, Jaden. Good fun crowd. So thank you so much. Thanks for letting me riff and just like learn about your world, and just really celebrate how what you're doing is impacting the world, really changing the world, one company, one person, one company at a time. I can just really feel and appreciate your impact in the world. Thank you, Luisa.
Thank you, May. That means a lot.
I ask everyone to bring a business challenge. Do you mind sharing some business challenge you're in at this moment, and just in a way that we can all just tune into, like, everybody's also growing their own in their places too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So one thing that that's a challenge for us right now, and I think this is a challenge for many businesses and people in general too, if you're trying to take big strides and make big progress, there is this slowing down that's necessary to build the proper infrastructure, right? To do sort of the non-sexy side of the equation. So this is relevant if you're in business, building out your team or your internal ops or your systems, but it's the same as if you're, wanting to, lose 100 pounds, and, you need to like sit down and do the work of like finding the right solution for that and building it into your schedule and like doing all of the like to get to the place you want to be, right?
It's like building, right? The machine gets to run, but you have to build it first.
Exactly, exactly. So for us, we're in this building the machine moment where we're really focused on making sure that the way that we are serving current clients, taking on additional clients, um, making sure that the team internally has clarity as to what our priorities in the business, making sure that our, the system that we're using to manage our work is set up in a way that isn't taxing, that feels where people are comfortable working in that space. So there's a lot of this, like, yeah, building the machine that we're in. And I guess the challenge is that because I see the need and because I see the vision, it's really a challenge for me in, like, making sure that I'm taking the appropriate time to take care of what is, and really make sure that we're in a good place before we sort of move to the next stage of growth. And so for me, it's challenging because I'm so motivated by the more we can do.
Yes.
And where I really need to be right now is in that what we're doing happens better, and that we are doing less, but we're doing it better. And my team feels good. Like, my measure of success is, does my team feel like they are successful in checking off what needs to be done, and they understand how that rolls up into our bigger mission, and are they able to take time off? Like, when they take time off, can they truly unplug? For us, we don't have any full-time workers currently working more than 30 hours a week, because I think that that is the most that I should expect from a human to work on my business. And so,
New work policies, right? New work.
yes.
Nice.
Yes. So new work policies around that. We're building the actual infrastructure of our business so that there's overlapping work, and which means that if somebody's just having a day where they're like, and we've all been here, where you wake up and for whatever reason you just can't get to that place where you can be productive, or you open email. I don't know if this has happened to anyone, but you open your email and you just sort of stare at it, or stare at your computer screen,
Yeah.
and you're like, there's so many things I could do right now, and I just don't have the capacity to pick that one thing.
Right.
I want to build in time for that. And so in our company, it's really important for us to be able to reassign tasks, so that if somebody does need a mental health day, or to spend the day with their kid, or to spend their day crying on the couch, or whatever they need, that they can do that.
Yep.
And the work can still get done. And so that's something that is really important to me. And I make sure my team understands that that is an important priority for the business. And so, but that does require a lot of making sure that we've set things up such that someone can go into the work and understand what's expected of that particular task, and feel confident to complete the task, even if it's not their regular, work task. Anyway, so just some examples of, like, how we're trying to say, but these things take time.
Takes time. And wouldn't it be easy to say, like, oh, that's a good idea, but let's do that later? And then
Right.
the moment that someone's like, oh, today I tested positive for COVID. I mean, right? That's a common one these days I'm hearing around me. Fingers crossed. I haven't gotten it in this home yet, but yeah, it has to be available to someone to get COVID, whatever things that nobody
Life.
can, and they feel safe to say, I know what to do. It's going to be okay. Nobody's mad at me, right? Everybody's going to be okay. And some of that is just holding energy and space for that. But some of it is like keeping the machine moving.
Yeah.
So bravo. And yeah, it's huge. It's huge. As you're talking, I'm thinking about, thank you for sharing that. Very similar feeling for me, where I just told you I just created my first group course. That was just a mountain I wanted to climb for years. And it was just always like, I know business. I know this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to do it. And also I'm like, but I want everything now. I mean, I want to plant everything and start all the seeds growing, and then it'll be there when I get really time to focus on it. It's just, it's that creative energy is beautiful, and also knowing when to, like, slow down, as you said, and hone in on that should hold off right now and just what I like to say, be here now. Just be here now
Yeah.
is
More of that. We need more of that. Honestly, like what you just said really resonates. The be here now. I mean, we need so much more of that. I mean, I see it even in my daughter. She has a really hard time being here now. She's used to like the next, she's 6 years old and she's just used to like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I see her mind thinking what's the next thing, but then what will happen? And I'm like, oh my gosh, is she getting that from me? Is it something that I'm saying? But it's the way that our society works in a
it's
lot,
just water for
it's
sure.
bigger. And so, but there is this, but it's I feel like the energy is just like begging us to be here now. And so a lot of that too is why I feel like growth will come, like the inevitability of the growth of my business, of the people, the wonderful people who will get to work with and serve. I'm not going anywhere, so like that's inevitable. And so how can we balance that knowing with being here now and being with people's needs now and being a part of the world and what that demands of us now, and just really like focusing on in the moment, like just those deep breaths, right? Just the space in between. How can we spend a little bit more time there to and create more spaciousness to make it through? Because like we're gonna keep going, but like how do we
We're,
make that feel
we're
easy?
fine because we took care of ourselves, right? We took care of our nervous system enough to say it's safe to take those deep breaths now and just to be here now. Because isn't that kind of what here's my, that's my image for the eating away at your peace of mind thoughts.
Yep.
Some monster scratching at my brain. But yeah, how do we take care of those, right? Isn't that what makes us go like, you know,
Yes.
you're here right now. And we have to just go, oh, it's going to be okay, right? Like we have to find ways to find our peace again. And I think
Yeah.
your daughter, your 6-year-old daughter, yeah, like you're modeling practices for her too, right? To say,
Yeah.
yes, honey, I know it feels like we just have to just like keep looking out. And yet what we have is what we have in this moment and in this moment and in this moment.
Yeah.
And just, feeling the beauty of you modeling Louisa CEO is the same as Louisa Mama and Louisa to Louisa, right? Like offering the love in all the places.
Yeah. And I will say that to even get to the place where I can articulate and understand the importance of these things, like took a lot of work. When I first started in my journey, I had a business coach. I worked with a life coach who was a friend of mine where we did like a little swap.
Right.
And I had a healer. I mean, I had a lot of support to get to the place where I could even say that my success was inevitable and understand that that required slowing down and giving myself what I needed and stepping away from like getting off a call and feeling like instead of doing the follow-up right then and there, I can literally shut everything down, walk away, kind of reset my brain and come back to it later, and it'll look different and it'll feel different. That took a lot of self-reflection, a lot of being very honest with myself, a lot of physical shifts, to even like shake things up and decide something different. And so I think that that's an important thing to mention, just the power of having a coach or having somebody who can help, who can walk with you through this journey that we're all on is just so powerful and necessary, I feel like.
So powerful. Yeah, no, I know. And isn't it interesting how, I mean, I think we both work with people in those places and it looks so different for everybody, but almost like the hardest part is deciding which tools to avail ourselves of, right? I mean,
Yeah.
right away, the infrared sauna. And I can think of, some of the physical tools, the hypnotherapy really helped me. And I still use those principles now whenever I'm like, oh, where did that story come from? and
Yeah.
and really beautiful. But yeah, there's really a plethora of tools out there that I keep learning about too. So, and then it comes back to like, do I have time, space? Do I have permission to go like fill myself,
Yeah.
all the stories.
Yeah.
Um, but thank you. You also teed us both up to say we are here to help you, right? And so what I want to end with is tell everybody how they can get in touch with you to be supported by you and People First Finance.
Yeah, so you can follow us here on Instagram at People First Finance. That's our handle. All the latest updates, and tips, and resources are all there. We have a summit coming up at the end of this month, so you can check out details in my bio. And then our website is also peoplefirstfinance.com. And again, we're in this phase where we provide CFO advisory services, which means that we just help you understand your numbers and how to leverage them to make better decisions in your business. But we are actively working on more ways to reach more women who want to live this life of self-employment and really very much in alignment with the work that May is doing, achieve that in its fullest potential. And that's the really exciting part of what would otherwise be maybe boring accounting, but that's the exciting part of the work that we're doing in the world.
I mean, this is blow away the old story of boring accounting. This is
Right?
financial power, right?
Yes.
Financial, like what if all the doors get to be open of possibility financially? This is where you're taking us. Will you say more about the summit? Because I know that's a right now, and I think I'm looking at the date calendar over here, right? It's coming up soon. And I have at least one client that is saying, I think it sounds good. So I've been
Yay.
her information. Um, what's the gist of that and the call to that?
Yeah, so it's called the Next 6 Months Summit. And essentially, we start out the year with a bunch of goals and, we have all this energy. And I feel like in my experience, mid-year is when you start to lose a little bit of that steam or things look different. Your goals have shifted, life has come into play, but
Yeah.
you've got this really incredible 6 months of data, right? Where it's like, how has this year been? What did you want to accomplish at the start of the year? What came up that sort of might have thrown you off or just is inviting you to rejigger sort of how you want the next 6 months to go. And so it's a virtual summit. It's essentially like a boot camp for business owners generating or want to generate about 100K in annual revenue or more to achieve their big goals this year. And essentially I'm bringing in expert speakers, all women of color, who are experts in the financial industry and offer financial services that relate to systems, mindset, profitability, and tax. Those are four really critical success factors for entrepreneurs. Those are the things that we need to get laser focused on. And so we're just going to pack it into a day, tips, resources, actionable steps that you can take and implement to achieve bigger goals over the next 6 months.
Amazing. You're saying things that I was like, oh, how did she get in my brain about the first 6 months? And I'm like, oh, wait, what's happening here? So thank you. That's great. So what's the investment for this summit?
Yeah, so the investment, there's a special code that's also in my IG stories right now, but there's a code that will get you a big discount. Again, I want to make this as accessible as possible. So the investment is $350. There's also a payment plan, so you can break it up into 2 payments of $175. Again, just really wanting to get folks in, build community and camaraderie in this space because this journey can also feel really isolating. So we have a private Facebook group where we're able to connect also as business owners, get to know each other, help each other out, share struggles, share dreams. So that's a big part of this as well.
Nice. Okay, so we'll get the summit day together, and then the Facebook community will go on after that too.
Yep. And the summit's taking place on July 29th. So for some people, they were like, oh, I can't make it that day. keep
Right.
me in the loop for future. So if, depending on how this goes, if people get a ton of value out of it, or if we get feedback on how to make it even better, this is something that will continue on. So definitely follow us and follow along. But it's July 29th, the first half of the day on July 29th. It's a Friday.
Nice. Okay. So that can be our CEO day time,
Yes,
right? The time
exactly.
on the leader hat, the long vision. I'm in control of my ship.
I love it. Yes, exactly,
Good.
May.
All right. Thank you. You must know that I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I should do this. And now I'm like, of course I should do this. So I, I'm going to push the button.
Yay! We'll love to welcome you in. Seriously, just the group that we have going, it's some of the most incredible women entrepreneurs I have come across, and we just didn't have a way to work together until now. So I'm excited to see where the journey leads us, honestly.
So good. Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
Thanks for having this chat. Thanks everyone who joined us. It just, I hope everyone knows, like, it just feels so nice to have people in the room with us. So, yes. All right. Luisa, I can't wait to see you more and more in all the ways that we've talked about in the other coaching places we share, and we'll get to have dinner coming up. So, thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, May, and thank you to everybody who's watching the replay and who joined us live. It's a
Watch
pleasure.
play. Yes. Bye.
Take care.